the one who is hardware agnostic, has a software platform that sits on top of all these things and gives a unified view of that you can toggle between reefer, dry van, cargo, and even pull in warehouse information where you've got a modem in the warehouse and it's telling you the temperature in the cold room. That's the holy grail. Until then, look, trucking companies are margin conscious. Dealing a deal with Walmart is brutal. And if they feel like they can save more money and manage it internally with two systems, they will. And they have all along. I mean, JB Hunt will award. I think JB Hunt in the past has awarded, trailer tracking business to one company and reefer to another company, and sometimes container mixed, right? But there's not a lot of companies you can sell into that have those kind of mixed fleets anyways, right? I can name them on a hand how many fleets have that, right?
Yeah, got it. And just quickly, what do you think about Mark?
I think Mark is aggressive. I think he's a guy that has, a penchant for execution in terms of he wants to execute on sales. I think he's very focused on sales and he's driven. I think he takes risks. I think he can be bold. He like any other CEO, you probably either love him or you hate him. I think, when I look at an OrbCom, I kind of, this is going to sound like a bad joke, but I kind of look at it like the presidency, in the U.S., where I focus less on the leader and more on the leader's actions of like, what's the team? How good is the team? Can the team execute? Do you have the right people in the right places? I haven't been close the last few years to OrbCom, and there's been so many changes there, and so many different people from different acquisitions that I can't comment on it. But, what I like about Mark is he's aggressive, right? Mark is always aggressive. I think if you were to look at it and you put CEOs in buckets, right, you either have a technology CEO, an ex-CTO, or a product guy, right? Or you have kind of your classic business consultancy operational person, ex-Bain, BCG type person, or an operator. Or you got somebody who's, ex-sales and marketing. And Mark is that last one. He's ex-sales and marketing. And his bias is always going to be towards sales and marketing. But like with any person and any human, your greatest strength is also your greatest Achilles heel. And it's always a question of how well you manage that Achilles heel with the team around you, right? So if you're not good at operations, if you're not good at engineering, you got to surround yourself with people who are good at it and empower them and let them run, right?
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Well, they've grown the business. Look, they bought a lot of firms. They did, When I left, I had no harm, no foul with Mark. I left after the merger with Skywave and went on to do another venture, and we shook hands and went away. And I think Mark's been very aggressive in building that business, and like anything else, though, that it's not a Mark question. It's really, can the organization scale to that next level? That's the bigger question in my mind. Do you know what I mean?
So do you think, of the people that do you think that he has surrounded himself with good people?
Well, he's got some people there that he's worked with for a long time that have a lot of good experience. The guy who's running their satellite side, if he's still there, was a sharp guy. He's very amiable. I liked him a lot. And, I worked with a guy who ran the technology group there. He was at Skybits with me. He's been around for a long, long time. He knows the business real well.
Craig Malone?
Yeah, that's Craig. He's got, hardware experience. He understands devices. He's a smart dude, works hard. To me, the people that I knew there, they're smart guys. They all work really hard. They all know the space really, really well. It's just a question of can anyone manage all of those different lines of businesses and disparate businesses and products and functionalities in terms of software, hardware, and communications effectively? You can take the name and replace it to a different name. It's still a difficult task to scale a business to be really good at all of those disciplines. Does that make sense? Because you got to hire a lot, right? And that just puts a lot of pressure on the business.
Do you think that he hasn't hired enough?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't even comment on that. I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know who he's hired or not hired there. To pay attention to it.
Okay.
They bought a lot of companies that got a lot of good technology. I mean, I do know that.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And just a question, and feel free to not answer is, but what do you